recording. And we just hit the top of the hour. So Julie Watts, thank you so much for joining us all the way from down under, all the way from Australia. Julie's a master at this business, and she's going to be talking about how to understand the kind of personality you're talking to right off the bat, which really helps to see, you know, what that person's personality is like, what their priorities are, so that you're really talking about things that they care about versus things that really don't drive them. So Julie, we'd love to see your beautiful face. I see your name, but I don't see your face. And right now you're muted too. So we're going to get you in full color here in a second, I hope. There you go. Looks like you've unmuted yourself, but we still can't see your beautiful face.
Yeah, I have no idea what is going on with I've done Zooms this morning. Everything's been fine, but since I tried to hook up to you, I've been pushed on and off several times, and it just is not working properly for some reason. I don't know why.
We've had technical challenges actually for the last time. So it's not just you.
Okay, so it might be a good idea if I just log off and log back in again, just quickly. Is that okay? Because
yes, we will tap dance while we're waiting for you.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
Yeah, no
Talk
problem.
amongst yourselves.
Well, it'll be worth the wait, guys. So hang tight. I don't know.
I'll be back.
Okay, perfect, Julie.
Great opportunity to call your.
There's you are. We can see you. Don't do anything. We can see you.
Okay.
Fantastic. So we already introduced Julie and what she's going to be talking about. So now we're just not going to move. So we're not going to jinx anything or mix anything up. But Julie, thank you so much for joining us tonight, your morning or something like that, talking to us about personalities. This is such an important topic. So over to you.
It is. It's a great topic. I'm just hoping I'm not going to have trouble here. So I'm just going to share my screen. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Okay. So you can see that?
Yes, we can.
Yep. Okay, cool.
Oops. You've just frozen. Can you hear me? Oh boy.
We're tap dancing again, and it continues. Yeah, I don't know what's going on today. Stevie had troubles when he got onto the call, and then we were kicked off twice, and here we are. So the fun continues.
Yeah.
I'll send her a message.
Well, Julie, if you can hear us, we can still see your screen, but we can't see you.
Oh, she's gone.
It probably looks like she's logged off and is going to log back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Nothing worse than technical difficulties.
Well, we can talk about us being the same personality, Cindy. We're both crazy.
That's one of the options. I thought it was promoter, controller, analytical, and supporter.
It's like having fun.
Sure.
Hey, Bo Buck. How is your big fella?
Good. How you doing, Danny?
G'day, mate.
Just trying to stay out of the bright sun.
Yeah. That time of day. So, the sun doesn't go down here in Los Cabos. It literally doesn't get dark till 9 o'clock. So we've still got a bit of light at 9 o'clock at night. It's amazing.
How long are you down there for?
We always don't get a return ticket when we go away. So don't know. We just extend just extend for another month. The fishing's great down here. Fishing is great. And this is what we want for everybody on this call, isn't it? Give them this information and training to empower them and enable them to do what they want whenever they want to do it.
That's right.
Absolutely. You bet.
All right. Well, Julie, I'm sure, is logging back on here. I don't see her name yet. Otherwise, we're going to have to teach quickly about personalities on the fly. Yeah, somebody's messing with the internet.
He's saying, I'll be back. And I'll say, we are tap dancing.
Well, this is such an important topic, and it really helps you with your communication to really start to listen, really carefully and kind of understand what drives people. And different things drive different people. So, if what drives a controller is not what drives a supporter, and what drives a promoter is not what drives an analytical. So you really, by really tuning into what's important to them, you can give them the information that they're looking for so that they can make a decision that's right for them. And if you, just say the same information to everybody, you're not going to give the information that specific people are looking for. People are different.
Yeah, no, you definitely can tailor your conversations to those personality types. They'll require different information and listening to different words.
Yeah, and I don't want to steal any.
I mean, the great thing about what we've got though, Cindy, is there's nothing negative about this business. So there's always something to say to somebody to keep them on track, to keep the interest, piquing interest, to give them, additional information, but breaking it right down in an order for the personality type that we're dealing with.
Yeah, we tend to talk to people in the personality type that we are. So if we're a promoter, we tend to talk about the fun that we have in this business and the freedom and that kind of stuff. But, and that if we're talking to an analytical who really wants the facts and figures and all of the test results and the science and that kind of thing, they don't want to hear about the fun. They want to hear the facts and the figures, and same with a controller. They want to know how to make money. They want to know about the company, who started it, who's in charge, how do I get to the top of the comp plan, that kind of thing. And so you really, it really helps to, and we can all work on our listening skills, right? I mean, we can all improve, in that way. So.
Super important. She's back on. We can promote her now.
Do you see her there?
Yeah.
There she is. Okay, here we go. All right, Julie, hopefully we have you and with no technical difficulties, and you can go ahead and share your screen.
I can't see her yet. She hasn't popped up.
Yeah. We've promoted you to panelist.
Where is she?
Oh, you guys, such a crazy
Lost her
day.
again. Yeah.
One, two, three, four, five, six. Yeah, I don't see her. As soon as I promoted her, I guess that she, there she is again. Okay, here we go. Here we go, Julie. Oh.
Sorry, guys. I keep getting knocked off every time you promote me to panelist.
Oh my goodness.
Come back in again.
Okay, there you are, and you can share your screen and you can tell us about these personalities. I'm so sorry. It's so disjolting to have this happen.
It's all good. It's all good. I'll just start so we're not wasting time for you guys.
We go over a little bit. That's fine.
Okay, because I've tried to cut this down as much as I can, because as I was saying before, guys, I'm pretty passionate about this stuff, because as 25 years as a hairdresser and 15 years in real estate, another one of my jobs was going into businesses and teaching personality skills and teaching people about personality profiles and how to get on with each other and how different personality types relate. And I love doing it this way with the emoji faces, because I think it really gets it across better what type of people are. So, life, when all is said and done, is truly based on relationships, whether they're personal relationships, people in your team, prospects for your ASEA business, or prospects for your products. The CAPS profile helps you quickly understand what type of person that you may be dealing with, and then you can make sure that you share the correct information with them and treat them correctly. Network marketing is a people and a service business. You know, one, we're a people business because you may have learned a heap of skills and product knowledge and have great business skills, but you need the skill of dealing with people to use these technical skills to the best of your ability. And honestly, communication skills can be learned and they really can be improved upon. And of course, we are a service business. This is a service business. And there are many things, as we all know, that are totally out of our control in this industry because we're dealing with people all the time. But you can control your actions and the way that you can be of service to your team and to your customers. And if you serve well, you will absolutely be rewarded well. And never forget, never ever forget that your income is an absolute direct result of your team's efforts and your customer sales. So you need to be a servant leader, and you need to be the kind of leader that you would want to follow. So when basic people skills are missing, you absolutely have misunderstandings, disagreements, unhappy team members that sometimes march, and a very high rate of people who are not interested in what you have to say, no matter how amazing it is. And we all know how amazing what we have is, but if you can't get it across in the correct way with somebody, then they're not interested, they don't care. One of the biggest misconceptions that people truly have is the saying that treat others as you would like to be treated. That is just so wrong. And it is the way everybody thinks. It is treat others as they would like to be treated. So to do that, you need to figure out how somebody would like to be treated, and you need to do it quickly in our business because we're meeting new people all the time. So you need to gain rapport with someone quickly, and rapport is a relationship of accord and harmony. And you can learn how to establish rapport and maintain healthy team environment and have much more people interested in what you have to say. And this will lead to great teamwork, a much stronger professional relationship and reputation, and a greater number of people who will say yes to whatever proposition you have to offer them. But it's up to you. You've got to be willing to take the first step. You've got to be willing to make the first move. You've got to be willing to modify your own actions in order to build rapport with somebody. So you've got to figure out how they are and then move towards that and start to modify yourself if you're trying to gain rapport with somebody. To gain rapport with a person, you need to really quickly establish and then figure out how they want to be treated. And it is an extremely, extremely complex thing, but it really can be simplified quite easily. So you've probably all seen some of these. There are so many different ways of looking at personality types. The colors, the animals, the spontaneous, methodical, humanistic, competitive, and of course we all know this one here. And some of you will know the famous Myers-Briggs personality test. These are all similar things, and they kind of all end up with the same result. And this is probably the one you are most comfortable with: choleric, melancholic, sanguine, and phlegmatic. Ours is similar. We just use different names. And the reason we use different names is because it is much easier to understand. Some people don't know what a choleric means or what a melancholic is, or even what phlegmatic means, but this is much easier to understand. So let's have a look at the 4 personality basic types. One, we have the controller. And you can look at that face and you can already know some controllers, and you may even know you're one yourself. Analyzers, pretty easy to pick up. Promoters, and of course we have our lovely supporters. So controllers are people who are very reserved with people, but they're really assertive when they're dealing with things, and they're very precise about their use of time. They stay cool and they are in control at all times. They are extremely goal orientated. They're the doers, they're the take charge types. And the things that controllers need to feel comfortable is to run the show, to dominate, to be in charge, and to win. And analyzers. Analyzers are very reserved with people, and they're very passive with things. They're very factual. They're precise, they're methodical, they are very much not risk takers at all, and they are certainly not goal orientated because they're not time orientated. They like to take their time with things, and they need security. Firstly, they need time to think, and they need facts to rely on. And promoters are the party people. They're verbal, they're fast acting, they're the life of the party. They create a really, energetic, optimistic atmosphere wherever they go. They're very creative. They're not time structured or goal orientated at all. They're just born to convince and inspire others. And promoters need to be liked. They like to be appreciated. They like to be thanked. They like to be acknowledged. They love excitement. They really like change, and they like lots and lots of activity. And supporters are concerned about feelings, and they're very outgoing with people, but they're very passive with dealing with things. And they're concerned a lot more about people than they are about things. They're extremely flexible, really caring, and very loyal. They're great listeners. And I heard somebody talking about listening while I was on and off before, which is such a huge thing that you need to know how to do. They're not time or goal orientated at all. They're certainly not risk takers, and they avoid confrontation at any cost. And they need to be accepted, and they need to be liked. So some suggestions on what you should show your prospects if you think they're a controller type of person. So you would connect them with your expert as soon as possible. Somebody with experience and credibility, usually someone in your upline, and you would give them a one-on-one presentation, make them feel really special. I am obviously part of Success Academy, so you'll see some Cotters stuff in here. So we would use the Cotters ASEA overview sheet and the Live It guide. You'd give them information about special corporate networking working events where they can actually be connected and introduced to people of influence. Very important to these guys. They need to see everything about our compensation plan. The Brilliant Compensation with Tim Sales is a great one. They want to see company financial statistics. You want to show them the company magazine and lots of success stories when it comes to business success stories. And you want to add them to things like ASEA Wealthy Self and ASEA Healthy Self, but they will be more interested in ASEA Wealthy Self than they are ASEA Healthy Self. Some website suggestions for them: ASEAScience.com for the independent studies, ASEA Global, we are Redox, Google Scholar and PubMed, obviously the genesis, of course, for anybody, and I Am ASEA. Those types of websites are the things that they would be interested in. So the analyzer prospect, suggestions on what to show these guys. A public presentation for them, and even a one-on-one. They're a little bit, either way, but for them, more people, there's more credibility. They are very much into credibility. So you would maybe take them to a public presentation, but not throw them in the middle of a crowd. Keep them close and keep them quiet, and not let too much excitement happen around them, but let them see the credibility from the crowd. Again, the Cotters overview sheets and the Live It guide, a company financial statistics they'd be interested in. Again, they'd be interested in like looking at the compensation plan for a week or more. They just drill down into everything, these guys. They will want product information sheets. They'll want to know what is in every single product that we have. Obviously demonstrate 3 and 5 type exercises and things like that, and add them to Healthy Self and ASEA Wealthy Self. Website suggestions for these guys, all the ones with lots of information, but you can see here that we would have added also the ASEAVIA.com and the RenewAdvance.com, and anything to do with our products. They are going to want to know every little detail about everything. That's what analyzers are like, and that's what they need. So the promoter prospect, suggestions on what to show these guys is kind of a bit different. They will want a public business presentation, and they'll want to meet lots of people, more fun for them. The limit guide, the Cotter's overview sheet. They'll want to know about the promotions and the incentives and our trips, what they can earn, where they can go, our convention, our parties, all of those kinds of things. Show them as much fun and excitement as you can. They will want to know about the compensation plan because they are interested in money. Whereas, you know, some of the others aren't so interested in money. Demonstrate 3 and 5 exercise, and of course, a see a wealthy self and a see a healthy self. Website suggestions for these guys: a SEA Global, We Are Redox, I Am a SEA, SEA Impact. Of course, the Genesis videos on my list always, and some Google Scholar stuff. But they really want to show them pictures and videos of conventions and parties you've been to, and all the fun that you've had and the people that you've met. That's really important to a promoter. They want to see the fun. And the supporter prospect. Suggestions what to show them are very different. You know, they'll want a public presentation because for them, more people, again, more credibility. They will want the ASEA ethos and culture information. The others types of personalities, they're not so interested in that, although it's always included in everything I do because I think people need to see ASEA ethos and you know, the genesis. I think they're really important, but this type of personality just eats up their stuff. What they want to know is what they can do for people and how they can help people. They'll want information on the ASEA business model, but they won't be interested until you start to point out to them that you can only get ahead by helping others. That is going to be really important to them. Of course, demonstrating how ASEA works, how Renew 28 works, all of those kinds of things. And the ASEA Healthy Self Facebook page is going to be the absolute best thing that you could ever put them in, because these guys are all about touchy-feely people and helping people. So website suggestions for these, again, you can see the first time I've put advancinglife.org in because the others aren't that, like, at first, they're not that interested in that stuff. But if you get a supporter type prospect, they're going to want to know what ASEA does in that regard. And we have an amazing foundation. And, you know, if you start talking about that kind of stuff to a couple of the other guys, they're just going to glaze over. Start talking about the Advancing Life Foundation to a supporter type prospect, they're going to want to hear about that. And they're going to want to hear about how they could perhaps go on trips and actually get their hands dirty and help people in that way as well. So you can see why some people just can't seem to get along, because they're very different. But if you understand why someone is the way they are, then you can usually forgive whatever it is about them that bothers you. But that really does take some effort, especially in a workplace and especially in a team situation where you're working together all the time. You really need to think and act in a particular way that is not sometimes how you normally would, just to make sure that you keep the status quo and that you keep people happy. It doesn't mean you can't be yourself, of course, and you don't have to change that much then that you're not you anymore. It's just really realizing how you deal with particular types of people. And this will help you truly have better relationships in every area of your life. But if you can use this information in your business, it will really help you gain rapport with your prospects and get more people to say yes, because you're on their wavelength. Now, there is a very long version to that, and I'm happy at any time to do the whole thing because it's really interesting, but it's hours long, but it's fantastic. But here's a really simple version. You need to look for signs of the people that you're talking to or dealing with, or even on the phone now, as it is, you know, we're talking to people on the phone because we're not so belly to belly anymore. You know, you can hear what they're like. If they're quiet and reserved on the phone, then you kind of need to be quiet and reserved back in your approach. You know, if you're one of the party people and you've got one of these guys on the phone, and you deal with them the way you would like to be dealt with, you're going to scare the death out of them and they will run a mile. So even on the phone, you can very quickly pick up people's personality types if you listen, and listen to the tone of their voice and listen to how quickly they speak as well, things like that. So if they're reserved and quiet, you should be reserved and quiet. If they're really loud and outgoing, then you should be a bit more loud and outgoing, even if you're not, and you're not that type of personality at all. The closer you can get to that and be a little bit more like them, the more likely you are to gain rapport with them quickly if you're very opposite them. And we do have some very opposite personalities in here. Some people are really happy for you to sit really close to them, and others really want you to keep their distance. So you really have to look for those signs and really don't ever intrude on people's personal spaces, because it really does make them feel uncomfortable. And some people have no idea about that. It's really interesting when you watch a group of people, you can see some people don't understand people's personal spaces. You know, they will get closer and closer to somebody, and the person they're talking to will actually quietly step back, and the person that's talking to them will just follow them and step closer. And I find that really interesting, but some people just do not understand that people have a personal space and that you shouldn't step into it unless you are really invited into it. Some people just seem to be in a hurry and want the short version. They're normally able to listen and take it all in. So give them the short version, but give it to them very clearly and precisely. And then others, there's always the people who want you to spend lots of time with them and explain every tiny little detail. And that's great as well. Of course, take the time to do that, but within reason, because some people are like this, are not going to ever do anything, and they just love the fact that you're around and talking to them. So you always have to put kind of a time limit on these things, so you really aren't continually wasting your time with the same person. I'm not saying don't go back and drip on them. Of course, always do that, but be careful not to be tied up with some people who will truly never do anything. Some people are really visual, and all you need to do is give them all the information in written form with pictures so they can study it themselves over and over and over again. And they'll take it away and they will need time to digest it. And others will just hear what you say and take it all in. And those types of people make decisions a lot more quickly. So just to show you how this works in the longer version of this. In the longer version of this, we learn about the differences, the things that these guys have in common, and the things that they have the least in common, and how to deal with those things. And then we have a set of questions, and you actually go through a test yourself, and you figure out your personality types. Now, we all have some of each personality in us. We're not all one thing ever. We normally have two dominant ones and two less dominant ones. And here you can see this person is a supporter analyzer type person. Those two personalities go quite well together, and you can see that they have a lot less of the controller in them, which is absolutely not surprising, and not so much of the promoter personality either. But you can see they still have part of all of them. When you really start to have issues is if you have somebody that has a really high support and a really, really low controller. Those two people are going to have a big issue. They'll have really big issues, and you need to kind of know how to work through that. And this one is a supporter promoter. Now, interestingly, when I was had hairdressing salons for 25 years, and when I was doing this, I would say 90% of my staff was this personality type, which I guess doesn't surprise you when you think about hairdressers. You know, Some of us are crazy. We have crazy colored hair. We do silly things. We're kind of, party animal bits of types, but we're also extremely caring and supportive of people. We listen a lot because we stand with people all day and talk to people all day, and they tell us all of their problems, and we're kind of like social workers and psychologists. So you can imagine why 90% of my staff we're quite often this type of personality type. But it's really, really interesting to actually do this for yourself. So some personality styles have more in common than others and are more likely to work together harmoniously. But remember that we all have some part of each personality, even if it's only a really, really small part. So if you focus on the shared concerns that you have, it's like watering flowers in the garden. But focusing on the differences without some attention to the similarities is like watering the weeds. So if you water only the flowers and you pull out all of the weeds, then you will have a beautiful garden, a happy team, and a lot more people who will say yes to what you have to offer. So that's it from me as far as that goes, guys. As I said, that's a very shortened version of my training. My training used to take all day. So
Fantastic, Julie. No, great training. I'm curious when people are getting somebody on a three-way phone call and they've kind of identified that the person that they're talking to is, let's just say, primarily a supporter personality. Is it a good idea to get the expert on the line as a supporter personality also and kind of match those personalities? Yeah.
Definitely. Or at least let your expert or upline know what type of personality the prospect is, so that they kind of don't just go all in when they really need to hold back. Like it's so amazing how much difference that makes when you can just gain rapport quickly and pick that up. And honestly, the biggest mistake people make is thinking they need to treat others how they'd want to be treated. And it's just not true. It's so not true. It's the opposite to that.
Well, I suppose the longer they talk, the more of a feel you're going to get for them. And so if we can get them talking rather than us doing all the talking, we're going to be much better off in kind of identifying what's going to be important to them and what's not going to be important to them, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I said when I was popping in and out, you were talking about listening. That's so important. It's a quick way to figure out a personality type is to listen to them speak. Listen to the tone of their voice, listen to how fast they talk, listen to what they want to talk about. And the more you let them listen, the more you listen and let them talk, the more you learn.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure it all takes practice. And the more you focus in and really try to figure it out and kind of get a feeling, remembering that everybody has a little bit of all four personalities in them anyway. It's just that they're primarily leaning this way or that way, right?
Yeah, exactly. And people, one of the questions that people ask me all the time is, can your main personalities change? And the reality is that yes, they can. I mean, they don't change majorly. But if you change positions, when you start to become a leader in this business, your actions start to change, and you kind of start to learn how to deal with people a little more. And what you find is that, that controller in you, that leader in you, starts to come to the fore a bit more and a bit more and a bit more. And it does change over time. Mine definitely changed over time, without question. And it changed quite dramatically. But it didn't happen overnight. It happened as things changed in my life and positions changed and stuff. So you're not stuck with the personality that you have. You can actually work on it when life things around you change and you need to change with them.
Yeah, absolutely. The evolution, right? The evolution of a leader.
Yeah.
Danny, do you have any questions for Julie before we let her go tonight?
No, that was fantastic, Juliet. Definitely got me thinking when it comes to talking to people and how we handle conversations with the information that we want to get out of them, to help us make a decision to what we say to these people and the direction we guide them into going into. But probably more confused with, I don't think I've got two dominant types. I think they're all the same. They're just confusing. They're all fighting each other at the moment after going through that.
You know, it's really funny when I've done that test, and I've done it with many people, and I have a friend I know very well, good friend of mine, and I actually ended up working for her in real estate. She was one of my bosses, and then I did that for our staff. When our staff turned over a lot, we used to then go back and do this to figure out why we're having issues in here. Why isn't so-and-so getting on? It was so interesting that at the end of those sessions, people would be going, now I know why you do that. I understand you now. That used to piss me off so badly. And now, okay, I get it. And the dynamics in the office would change quite dramatically. So it really does make a difference when you understand that stuff. It really does.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, fantastic training. Thank you so much for your time and for your patience.
I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
No, it's not your fault. It's the wild web out there. So anyway, thank you so much, and good night, everybody.
You're
Not
welcome.
everybody.
See you later. Bye-bye.